Cool, 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 cool. Hello, everybody. My name is Kashawn Hopkins. I'm an instructional technology specialist, and today I want to talk about Adobe Spark Post. So this is our first of many tech talks that we're going to do, where we're going to pick specific pieces of technology and discuss being able to integrate it inside of classrooms. And in this particular one, we're going to do Adobe Spark Post. And so, just to be sure, can everybody see my screen that I'm sharing right now with my notes? Cool, getting a thumbs up. Great, great, great. So thank you everybody for taking this opportunity to just take a little bit of time out of your day and try to make some improvements, try to learn a little something, and hopefully will come out to be something valuable to you. I'm also joined here with Kurt Bernhardt. He's our technology director, and so you're able to refer to either one of us. Kurt, did you want to say anything?
Nope. Welcome and go ahead.
All right, cool, cool, cool. If you ever need to reach either of us, a great way to do it is through techteam@opsrc.net. Additionally, all of these slides are available. If you want to follow along, you can do it through that link. It's t.ly/AL capital G capital X. So those are case sensitive. Make sure you do that. That way you have access to these notes. Additionally, I'll have that link at the very end of these as well. But I'm just going to jump on in. I want to make sure to respect everybody's time here. So, to walk us through these next 30 minutes, first I'm going to start with a little bit of introduction, a little bit of theory. I like to set the table before we get into just jumping into the technology, just so we can kind of understand what's kind of the best way to integrate this technology and why are we even bothering to add in this technology instead of doing what we've always done before. And so I'm hoping to answer a couple of questions with that. I've picked out 3 good ones that will try to answer that. And after that, our next section will be me answering 3 questions about the tool specifically, and then doing a little bit of a showcase, show you what this tool is about for anybody who is unfamiliar with Adobe Spark. You get to see a few of the ways that it works. Then I'm going to round things out with just a few tool applications, just to get the creative juices flowing on how you can integrate this in your classroom, regardless what subject that you're in. I think this is a very flexible, useful tool that can be applied to many different core subjects. And then at the very end, I'm going to share a little bit of goodies. I don't want this training to be the only thing that you have access to. Later on, I know that we're going to have recording, which we're doing right now, but I also want to share some resources that can hopefully extend your learning and give you some support outside of this training. Additionally, I'll share a link to an evaluation and leave things open for questions. So, doing pretty good on time, so let's keep on going here. So first, introduction and theory. What are we learning? I have my objective statement here. After this training, teachers will be able to integrate Adobe Spark Post in their classroom to help students achieve learning goals and acquire 21st century skills. And so I just want to take this objective and break it down into a few of its components here. First of which is the why are we doing this? Why are we bothering to spend extra time to take technology, put it in the classroom, and put it to work for us? And the way that I see it is that whenever you introduce a technology tool, it shouldn't functionally change what your students are learning. Rather, it should support what you're already doing in your classroom. So that would be your learning goals, and that changes depending on what subject you teach, what students are teaching. But additionally, on top of that, I feel like 21st century skills, and I focused on these 4. There's a large variety of them out there, but these 4 main ones are useful regardless what subject that you're teaching on here. Your students need to know how to communicate with each other. They need to know how to collaborate. They need to do critical thinking. They need to be creative. So these are different things that are going to be useful not only while they're in school, but also makes them more employable, makes them more successful in college. And so just being able to share those thoughts and work together and link ideas from different pieces of evidence and try new approaches can help students. And I believe not only this tool that we're talking about, but all the future tools we're going to talk about will have these 4 things kind of built into them. My next question is, okay, so if you're sold on spending extra time and putting the technology in the classroom, how do you go about doing this? And I know the temptation is just to throw the technology in there and see if it works. I want to recommend a model that's out there called the Samur model. For those who are unfamiliar with it, it's different. I would say a very basic. I feel like I'm not doing it justice with this, but at the very least, it kind of gives you as benchmarks on how you can integrate technology in an effective way that supports your learning goals. So you can either use a piece of technology to substitute for something else that you're already doing. You can use it to augment something that you're doing, modify something you're doing, or redefine something that you're doing. And I'm going to refer back to these at the very end once we go and do a little bit of that showcase so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, the tools. And then we're going to use this to kind of take the tool and approach it in a bunch of different ways using a bunch of different subjects. So that's for my application section right after the showcase. So please keep this in mind. If this is the first time you've ever heard of Samur model or you know very little about it, I really do think this is worth exploring if you plan on using more technology in your classroom. Or if you're already using it, I just think it's a great model here. All right. On to my next section. So this is specifically asking questions about Adobe Spark Post before we get into the showcase here. So first of all, what the heck is Adobe Spark Post? Well, it is a media creation software that helps build graphics. It's actually part of a suite. The whole suite is called Adobe Spark, but they have different parts of it, like Post is for graphics, and they have two other parts that I always forget the names of, but I'm sure I'll see it in a little bit. But one helps you build web pages, and the other one helps you build videos in there. So we're going to focus specifically on Post for this particular session, but in the future sessions, I'm hoping to expand it to the other parts. I think they're all really great. Next question I want to answer is, what can it do for my classroom? There's lots of different functions that you can do, but I've highlighted a few that I think really makes this tool exceptional. First of all, it comes with tons of free templates to start one from. I mean, the tool itself, a good chunks of it are free. I'll show you where there are some like premium features that you could potentially pay for, but a good chunk of this tool is actually free. It has plenty of templates there. This exports and plays really nice with Google Classroom or Drive. If this is something you're already using, which is it's becoming more of a popular tool for schools these days, of course, going into like virtual schools. It really plays not well with these. This works really well with Chromebooks, and this is something that I feel this tool does that separates it from other tools, is it integrates really well with other social media platforms. So I think this makes it really accessible for students who are already familiar with these. They can see ways to integrate what they're learning in the classroom with what they're also doing outside of the classroom. So this is good stuff here. And then finally, where do you access it? That will be spark.adobe.com. That's where you want to go, and that's where actually we're going to start this showcase here. So once again, if you want to follow along, you're very welcome to. It's spark.adobe.com. So let's jump on in there. Okay. So here we go, spending a little bit of time with the showcase just to show you what is this tool about and how easy, how accessible is this, how can we get into it. From here, I'm at the login page. Now, when you use this for your classroom, I highly recommend that you take advantage of logging in with your school account. You're able to start a classroom, invite students in with a class code. It's really easy to set up. In fact, Adobe already has some resources that you can do that just guides you through step by step, which I'll share a little bit later. It's part of my goodies section. But it's just a great way to get started. Unfortunately, just to kind of preface this a little bit, I'm going to be logging in with my Google account because I don't have a school account that I have access to. So it'll be slightly different, but not completely. I'll at least be able to show some of the features here. So that's what I'm going to jump into right now. I'm going to click with Continue with Google. Go ahead and log into one of my accounts here, and I will be taken to the dashboard. So lovely. Oh yes, thank you, pops-ups. I can take it from here. Okay, from the dashboard, the very first thing that you can kind of see, well, they have this big banner kind of advertising all of their features that they have over here. But right on the dashboard, I'm going to scroll down a little bit, you can see previous posts that you work on. If you have a classroom and students are invited into it, that's where all of their projects are going to show up down there. And if you scroll down a little bit more, you can see some of these lovely, lovely templates here. And so, yeah, it's really easy to go ahead and get started. You can just click on any one of these templates and get going. Something I do want to point out here while I'm here, zoom in a little bit there, is on the top right-hand corner of a couple of these templates is that yellow tag there. So that means those are premium templates. You'll have to pay for those, unfortunately. But they are there. But I think some of these other templates, I mean, if you're just looking over them, there are some really good ones that you can just access for free. Not a problem. Additionally, one other thing that I do want to point out here is one really nice feature about Adobe Spark Post, and in fact this extends to the other tools in the suite, is whenever you create something from a template or start from scratch, you have the choice to correctly format your images. And that's really powerful when it comes to being able to share any of the projects that you create inside of Adobe Spark. Because nothing sucks worse than like creating something that you're going to share out to social media. You share it out and then parts of it are cut off because it's not the right size. And so Adobe Spark makes sure that problem won't happen to you as long as you select the correct format whenever you get started here. So pretty nice here. Okay, so that's the dashboard. Real neat. I want to bring everybody's attention to the top left-hand corner over here, this big old blue button with the plus sign. Let's get creating. So when students log in, or you log in, you want to start creating things. Top left-hand corner, click on that button, and you have a handful of choices. In fact, you have more than this. You can click View All if you'd like. But all the tools that I mentioned a little bit earlier, the video creation tool, the web page creation tool, all of this is integrated in together, so you don't have to switch from tool to tool. You just select what you want to create. I am going to focus specifically on the flyer, but if you do have a little bit of time, if this is kind of piquing your interest already, I recommend taking a look at some of the other tools that they have here, different formats that they have. But I'm going to start with the flyer and give myself some space here. Okay, so this is where we make the magic happen. Once we've opened up a little bit of space here, we can start playing around with these tools. I want to get you a little familiar with this before I dive on in. On the left-hand side, I feel like this is zoomed in a little bit. Nope, okay. On the left-hand side represents things that you can add into your kind of your play area, your creation space here. So all of these things on the left, it's adding things in. All of these, this toolbar on the right-hand side is just making modifications to whatever's going on there. It is context sensitive, so if you click on something, those options will change on the right-hand side. So you'll see that in a little bit. And then at the very top, don't forget, probably one of the most important buttons that you'll see on here is the undo and the redo button. This will save your butt so much, so make sure to point it out to your students if you do use this for your classroom. Before I jump on here, I do want to make one recommendation. If you introduce this tool into your classroom, your step one should give your students time to play with this tool. Set them in here, give them a little bit of structure here, but for the most part, give them a space to go in the tool and play with the different features. And I think this does two very powerful things. The first of which is this will help you identify students that are really strong with the tool. You'll see them go in, they'll start messing with things, and they'll start doing stuff that you're like, oh, I didn't even know I could potentially do that. And you can identify leaders and maybe use them as help you out if you do need some help, or if you get stuck on here, being able to have those students there. And on the opposite side of that, you'll be able to help students who are a little anxious with the tool, who this is a little out of their comfort zone, working with a tool like this, and just having that time to kind of play around and familiarize themselves will help them out when it comes to doing some kind of project that you want them to do. So building a little bit of that time to play will pay dividends in the future. And emphasize, they don't have to create anything beautiful. They just need to start playing with the tools and getting used to it, which we're going to do right now. So let's start. On the left-hand side, you could start with a template. Right now I have a blank space, but if I wanted to, I can click Templates. I get a little fold-out menu here on the left-hand side. I could find something that looks cool, like for example, this Day of the Dead thing is pretty neat, so I'm going to click on that. It's going to ask me to confirm that as my template for this project. Give it a little moment to think about it, and then boom. And everything that's here is something that's built out that I can make modifications to really easy. Like if I want to get rid of these skeletons, like I don't like these skeletons on the bottom of this page, I can click on them and delete them, take them out there. If I wanted to, maybe I can put something else down there that I think is cool. The text that's on here, I can click on it. Oh, cool. That's some tutorials there. Those are nice. And on the right-hand side, I can see my modifications. I can change the size of this text if I wanted to. I want to make it smaller, maybe. Cool. If I want to change the color, there's a bunch of palettes that you can use for students that are familiar with the color codes over here. They can change it. And even if they're like, well, I don't know what I want to change. I just know that I don't like it the way it is here. On the bottom right-hand corner down over here, this magic little button here that says Find a New Style will give you kind of a random style to choose from. So I'm going to click on that. And then, oh, that's pretty nice. There's a little sun thing going on over here. Maybe if I click that again. Ooh, spooky. It's got that like green zombie thing going on there. Maybe that's what I like. And then I can make that a little bigger here. And if they don't like a specific aspect of this, they can always change and modify. There's a bunch of tools here on the right-hand side they can play with. All right, so those are templates. Additionally, we have text here. Text and photos are the building blocks of you building anything here. You can either start by just doing blank text, clicking on plus add your text, and then type in anything. Hello world. And then pressing done. It will enter it in there, and I can do anything that I want with the text. Like for example, if I want to make it bigger, I just drag the corners of this, make it bigger or smaller. Or I could grab this little rotate symbol and rotate that around if I'd like to. So there's little modifications that you can make to kind of help yourself out. Or you could start from a template. They can just scroll through this list, click on anything, and then just start modifying that box there. So all of that is done by just clicking and typing a little bit here. So that's text. Next is photos. You can choose to upload a photo, which is really great for templates. Like if you have a picture and maybe you want them to label parts of the picture, I think that's a great way for them to do that. Or you can click on Find Free Photos. This does kind of a safe search on here, so it shouldn't be coming up with anything funky. But let's say, for example, let's do some more skeletons. Let's get some skeletons in here. So I search for skeletons. Ooh, spooky. I like these. All right, how about this big skeleton over here? That feels nice. So I'm going to click on that picture there. Oh man, they really wanted me to see the tutorial. I get it. All right. Okay. It's not super fancy, but you know, I think it gets the job done here, and I can click and drag this. Easily move it around, make it bigger, smaller, just modify it just like I do with the text on there. Not too bad. So really easy to pull in pictures. And even if you don't have the pictures, they have search engines for that as well. Next is icons and design assets. These are for like basic shapes. Let's say I want the picture of a light bulb. Maybe the skeleton has a great idea, so I can just click on, search for this icon, click on any one of them. It will dump out one of those for me. And I can click and drag this and move it around and modify it just like I did the photo on there that I added there. So that's a very, very, very basic overview of that. Just being able to add in tools, add in content, and modify that content. What I do want to take a moment to bring everybody's attention to is on the top right-hand corner, there are 3 very useful features, I think, here, and that will end the showcase part of this. Starting from left to right, we have this tool with the person and the plus symbol. This is a great way that you can have students collaborate on images. Now, this doesn't work in real time. If you have two students working on the same project, they won't see the changes the other person made. So it's more of like a pass-off type of deal. Like, or you could have somebody take a look at a post and maybe do a little bit of a peer review or something. So this is a great way that you can add a little bit of that collaboration in there, have students work together. Next is the download button over here. You can download any graphics that you create as a PNG, JPG, or a PDF. And if you add animation in there, which is really nice, which we'll talk about in the future, that is you can download it as a MP4. And then finally, the share button. If you click share and then click publish, this is how you can connect whatever you create here with the other wonderful tools and social media outlets that you have access to. So you can share it to Facebook, Twitter, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, through email, through link. So there's so many different ways to share that out. It makes it really easy for this tool to integrate with other tools. All right, so I would love to spend the rest of the day talking about this, but I just wanted to give everybody just a little taste of what you can do, or what this looks like when you are in this tool and messing around with it. I also want to give everybody a little taste of the applications for this tool. So I'm going to swap over to my Google Slides. Here we go. Okay, just a few applications, and I'm going to use the lens of the Samur model to kind of frame all of these ideas. So, like for example, if you wanted to use Adobe Spark in your science class, you can use it to substitute maybe the activity of labeling the parts of a cell. You could share a template with your students, and then they can label the parts using the text tool and a combination of the photos tool as well. If you wanted to do an augment style activity, you could do it with the history class. Maybe you could have them research images about the Reconstruction era, the Reconstruction era, and then build a collage of images to kind of showcase what they've researched. Next, you could do a modification style activity. For an English class, I think a perfect way to do it is have them build a poster as a creative way to do a book report. So this requires them to do a little bit of research, read about the book, put something together, and express themselves in a visual way. And so I think that's a great modification activity. And then finally, I got a soft spot for math. I used to teach math once upon a time, but a great redefinition activity is doing, and you could do it for math class. You could have your students take pictures, use whatever device they can to take pictures of angle relationships that they find in the environment, and then take those pictures, put them in Adobe Spark, caption them, and say, okay, this is where I found something like corresponding angles or adjacent angles, something like that. So really kind of mixing a couple of parts of math there. So not only that, I emphasize seeing math on the outside, but also just reinforcing those vocabulary words there. So I think that's a good redefinition activity there. And these are just a couple of applications. If you type in like Google or something like that, Adobe Spark applications or classroom applications, people have come up with a huge range of this stuff. And on the Adobe Spark website itself, they've also come up with tons of ideas just to get the brain rolling there. So that's just a way that I've used the Samur model just to make sure am I using this technology appropriately? Making sure that students are gaining something from this experience. All right. We're on the last phase here. Thank you so much, everybody, for spending your time here. I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes sharing some goodies, sharing some links, and that way you can extend your learning from here, because I don't expect to completely transform your classroom in this 30-minute session, but I was hoping that I could at least start the conversation, try to get a discussion going, get your thoughts going about doing something different and giving students a richer educational experience. And so I think this is a great way to get that going. So first, the goodies that I've promised. I've added a couple of links here. I've done a little bit of research before doing this presentation, and I've shared some goodies that I think will really help extend your learning. The very first link I think you should take advantage of This was created by Adobe Spark, and they give you kind of a step-by-step teacher's guide on getting started with Adobe Spark Classroom account. So I unfortunately can't show you that, but they do a wonderful job doing it, and this is a really easy shareable. So if this is something you're like, okay, well, maybe this won't work exactly with me, or maybe like I'm really excited about this, I think other people could use this, this is a great resource to share. I have some goodies for Samur. If this is something you're like, okay, so maybe I might not be interested in this specific tool, but I have other tools that I'm already using. How do I make sure that I'm getting the most out of this technology? Samur is a great framework to use it. It's not the only framework out there. There's some good ones, but this is one that I'm going to give recommendation to, and here's a couple of links. And it even gives examples. There's tons of examples on being able to use Samur to help with your technology integration. And then finally, my last slide. A couple of links for you over here. The very first one is the evaluation. Please, please, please make sure that you take a look at this survey. The address for it is t.ly/ggz So if you're looking at this, really short survey over here, just a few questions, you click a couple of bubbles, you fill in the blanks on 2 of them, and then bing, bang, boom, you're done, you submit. So will not take you all that long, just a few minutes of your time. So if you really enjoyed what you've done here, just take a couple of minutes to do all that. That way that I can help improve this program, and it's just kind of a little way that you can give back to the OPSRC community, because I just want to hopefully make a better experience of these tech talks in the future as we continue to do more. Additionally, don't forget who you're talking to here. We got Kashawn Hopkins and then Kurt Bernhardt, part of the technology team. You can email us at techteam@opsrc.net. Additionally, I got the link to the slides over here as well. And the very last link that I have here is if you liked what we've done here, we're going to do it again for the rest of this month, and hopefully in the future if interest is still there. So just to show you the Tech Talks page, looks a little something like this, and we'll update it as we add more tools on there. Like for example, next week we're going to do Google Slides, we're going to do Book Creator, Seesaw, and we have so much more exciting stuff after that as well. So take advantage of that. And of course, you got the little social media buttons on there. You can click on any one of these to directly access what OPSRC is about. And so if you want to give us a shout out, you're very welcome to.
And Kashawn, we had a question in the chat. Also, I've lost your video, but
I'm
not
you did.
sure what's going on there.
Okay.
I had a question about integration with Canvas. I did find that it does, Adobe Spark does integrate. I provided a link there, but I don't know if you have anything additional to add to that.
Ooh, yes. Yeah, I think that article would probably explain it a little better. I know I've seen Canvas on their website. It was one of those like, we support some such and such with one of these. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't have any personal experience with it, but I know there is an integration that will help you push out to Canvas. And there's always the like whenever you click the share button and the publish button, it might not have the button right on top of here, but there's the linking option, which I know will play nice with like Canvas modules, or if you want to embed it inside of like an assignment or a page, I think it will work nicely if you use that. I wonder if they have an embed code. Let's see if they give you that. Okay, no embed code, but the link should work as well. That's an excellent question. Yeah, it's always nice to talk about Canvas, everyone. Any other questions we might have here? Once again, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy days. I really appreciate what you guys have done here, and hopefully this will get things kicked off for you.